All right, so today I want to talk about the one strategy that I don't see being utilized nearly enough and what I think is so important about it. And again, you might eye roll me for a second, okay? But I really want you to hear me out. I have a lot of thoughts and I already anticipated what some of your questions will be. So I don't even just have thoughts, but I have questions and I have answers. That's how prepared I am today. So I'm just gonna take a bow right now because I'm very, very proud of myself for that. All right. So the punchline here. Oh, yay. Nima says perfect time too. This makes me so happy. Hey, Megan, thank you for being here. It's good to see you. So the one strategy, the punchline here is basically like giving a shit ton of value. That's it. But honestly, I feel like our space has gotten so far away from that. And I just don't see it happening nearly as much as I used to. And I think it's so interesting because of so many reasons that I'm going to talk about and go into today. But like, you guys, giving a shit ton of value is everything. Like the first thing I want to say about it, I have a lot of things I want to say, but like this one is really important. Like to me, that like giving value is like the great equalizer in business, right? So what I mean by that is like, yes, other people maybe have been in business longer than you or can brag about bigger results than you or have had more client testimonials or any of that stuff. But the one thing can all do equally is give our audience a shit ton of value, right? So if you're feeling stuck in business going like, well, how am I going to compete with the coach that has that result or that's been doing this or that's gotten a client this outcome or whatever, like the hack always is give a fuck ton of value, right? Like it is so simple, but it is so effective. And it is the thing that will make someone hire you over someone else, even with a million like shiny testimonials or whatever, because they're coming to your space, your account, your group, whatever it is, and getting that value from you day after day. Okay, so we're going to talk about a lot more pieces related to this. But again, I just feel like our industry has gotten so far away from this. Like, I feel like social has almost gotten to this point of like, look at me, look at my life, look at my results, right? And some of that's really good. And I certainly think some of that works. And I certainly believe in owning our results and bragging on our results. I bragged on one of my results today, and I feel really fucking great about that. But the thing is like, that's not ultimately why you guys are going to come back week over week. That's ultimately not why anyone's really going to hire me. That might give you permission to feel like you can hire me, or it might make it feel safer to hire me, or any of those things. But ultimately, why my clients hire me is because I show up like this and give value week after week. And so they feel a ton of safety in hiring me because they know that like, if this is what I'm doing for free, that like, they're going to get a ton of value in a paid container. Or, they're listening to Literally week after week and they're like, I get so much from Literally and you're not even coaching me. Like, I know if I work with you, I'll get X amount of value. That is the stuff, right? And that's the stuff, again, that is like, anyone can do it across the board, whether you've been in business for 1 month or you've been in business for 6 years. Like, it literally doesn't matter, right? And that's what gets so exciting. You guys know part of my story is that, I had success pretty quickly in business and, had like a 20K month, my second month in business, things like that. And hands down, like across the board, I built this business on giving a ton of value. And to this day, that is like the number one foundation of what we do. And that is what keeps working and what stands the test of time. Like other strategies come and go, and other things are like cool for a minute and then not cool. They're like getting a ton of reach and then not getting a ton of it. Like all of that changes. But if you are consistently year over year, month over month, week over week, giving your audience an absolute shit ton of value, you are going to get sales. You are going to get conversions. And I know some people are going to be like, I get value and I don't get sales. We'll talk about that too. But like, that's the stuff that people are always going to return to. Mary says, I love this. This is often my impulse, and I hate the feeling of holding back or saving content for paying clients. Yes, I'm going to talk about that. Shoot, yours disappeared as exactly as I was reading the end. Oh, Becky, yours just moved for me too. Can you ask me that one more time or just copy paste it? And someone else is saying it's such a good question, so I really want to know what it is. Katie says, literally is epic. Thank you. Alessia says, so agree. I read today from a coach that was saying not to give how-to kind of content to people, but I do believe we can share everything and still have people wanting to work with us individually. Cassidy said, love this. Alessia, I fucking hate it. I'm just gonna say it. I fucking hate it when people say like, never tell anyone how to, like that. For me, that feels so scarcity oriented. And I think that's what Mary was saying too. You know, we almost can feel like we're supposed to hold back or something. And I definitely am going to talk about that too. But for me, there's just like such a scarcity energy behind it where it's like, if I tell you this, then you won't pay me that. And like, you know, like it just feels so not the energy that really makes sales. Like, I think it's really hard to make a sale when you're like approaching it from like a scarcity energy like that. So like, we'll talk about that too. Oh, good. Thank you, Becky. Do you feel your podcast really expanded your reach or just touched existing people more and more? Okay, great question. So Becky, actually, like before I even started the podcast, I like built it with the intention of it being a conversion tool. And that's something I talk with my clients about a lot. Like if they're about to start a podcast, I'm usually saying to them, is it a conversion tool or is it an audience growth tool? Because in many ways, like, yes, literally is getting shared and stuff. And I think like that helps us grow. But it's not like I'm having guests on that are sharing it week over week. I'm not like doing that whole thing that would be a really big audience growth opportunity. So yeah, we like built and designed it to be a conversion tool. And I think it really has lived up to that. Again, of course, it's just kind of naturally and organically expanded our reach, but not in the way it would if I was being super intentional about it doing that. I hope that answers it. Let me know if that helps. Yeah, Mary says exactly. If I start thinking like that with scarcity, it gets really icky to engage with people, right? And then you like don't know where your line is. You're like, should I say that or should I not? Or like, even if you're on a live like this and someone asks you a question, like it's such a bad feeling to try to like dodge the question or something in favor of like not giving more value, right? Yeah, exactly. Alessia says I relate and takes away the spontaneity of sharing something useful, right? Whether you like want to answer someone's question or you're feeling really inspired about something, like I think that idea of like feeling like you can share and feeling like you're an open book of value is ultimately what keeps people coming to it. It's what keeps people wanting more, right? I actually did this interesting thing a couple of years ago that I want to share about. Yeah, exactly, Cassidy. I love how our purpose is to help people. Being in alignment and giving value will build trust. Absolutely. Right. And I think that's it. It's like hard to be like, I'm here to like help you as much as possible, but like not right here and not in this way. And not if you ask this specific question, it can just feel so weird. So I did this thing a couple of years ago, I think in business, when I used to do like the partnership process, basically people could apply for, I think I did it like once a year, a spot. I did like one or a couple spots to work with me. And it was, you didn't even have to pay a base rate. You just paid 20% of new revenue. So right now my clients pay a base rate and 10% of new revenue. And I would do 20% without a base rate. And it was like a whole process. People had to like, it was like a 3-step process, like an application, a video, a business plan. Like it was pretty in depth. Right. And so obviously everyone goes through that process. I like really wanted to say thank you. And so I ended up giving everyone who went through that process access to my entire value-centered sales course. And then I sold them the value-centered sales mastermind. So I was like, here's the course, here's all the content, here's all the value in it. If you want to be part of the mastermind and work on this together, like here, you can be part of the mastermind. Here's how to do it. But like literally here's all the content. And I just gave it to them for free. And a shit ton of people still signed up for the mastermind is my point to that. Like, I have never seen it in my business be true that when I give a lot of value, that it turns people off, that it makes them not buy from me, that it makes them not want more. I've only ever seen it that when I give value, it always comes back to me tenfold. And again, there are pieces off of this, like, are you selling, all of that we'll talk about. But yeah, this idea of like, I would have made more sales if I had held back on that value, like, it just doesn't line up, right? Like, the only way I would do that is if I made people feel like, and here's the thing, I had some kind of magic secret. And that is what's fucked about our industry, is not giving value in favor of people thinking you have a magic secret, right? How many of us have like fallen into that trap too, right? You know, like we all have, I'm sure, of thinking like, oh, that's it. Like, there's some magical secret behind this curtain and I must go find it. Okay, so fine. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't get you sales, but I'm saying it's much harder to get happy customers and repeat sales from that, right? Because they find out like, oh, there was really no magic secret. It was, you know, just like similar to other shit that, you know, I read or whatever, versus when you can be really transparent about that, where I was like, here's everything. And then if you want to work with me, here's what that looks like. That's like the transparent win. And that's when people were really, really, really happy with the program and really happy with the container and upsold from there, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, like, yes, there is a way to do it by holding back value and promising the magic, but it usually feels bad to most of us. And most of us that have bought from that usually aren't so happy with it, right? Eliza said, that's so good. I had a call with someone today who won a spot with me, been wondering how much to share with her. Everything. Now, I will say, Eliza, like, I think sometimes we can overwhelm people. So I don't mean like give her everything in the kitchen sink. I certainly think sometimes on a free call, people give not so much even in terms of value, but like so much information that someone can walk away like more overwhelmed than feeling clear. So that's the whole thing too. You don't need to like tell her everything, you know, but like, don't feel like there's something you have to hold back on, is my point. Becky says, has there ever been a time in life of your group that you felt the audience had changed and you needed to shift? My 5-year-old group seems like it's changed and I'm debating, do I start over with a new group? I mean, I think the algorithm and how people engage with social shifts a lot over time versus just the people, I guess is how I would say it. Like, I know my own personal interaction and usage has changed over time. I think a lot of people's have. So I try to almost like adapt with that. Like, you know, even something really simple, like I used to do like really set posts, like Mondays, tell me this, Tuesdays, tell me that. And I just noticed that that didn't work as well anymore. And it wasn't because like my group wasn't so my ideal audience or whatever. I think people were just engaging and interacting with it differently. So we just changed those up and changed how we're doing it. Or like, you know, like the algorithm, I think, is not favoring a lot of this stuff. Right now, like even my video views and stuff in here in general have certainly, not even views, but like, what's the word? Like how many people Facebook will present it to has certainly gone down. But I try to really look at that more from like an algorithm perspective and like how can I move with that, or like people are changing how they engage. Like I think people watch replays more now than they ever have. Again, just another example. So like we try to figure out like how do we push people to the replay, things like that. So I have never really felt like, you know, my audience just wasn't the right audience, but I have just felt like their way of interacting has changed. And so that's what I've just had to try to like, you know, adjust to or tweak or re-strategize. Everything is down and then people say, I haven't seen you in forever. Yeah, totally. I think that's normal. And so, you know, that's almost the goal. Like, how do I adapt with that? How do I get them coming back? How do I give them value in a new and engaging way? Like maybe they want more video or maybe they want less, or like, you know, play with like, how can I give more value in that way that makes them want to come back and engage with it? But yeah, I wouldn't say shutting it down is probably the answer, because I think that the algorithm, might favor a brand new group initially, but like, I think you wouldn't necessarily want to give up the right audience. You want to adapt, would be my advice on very fucking limited information there. Okay. So yeah, I think that's the thing, is like, sometimes we hold back value because we feel like we're supposed to have this like magic bullet behind the scenes. And what I think that we have to really remember is, our support, our programs, our containers are the magic bullet. It's not the value or the like information necessarily. Like, the information is everywhere. And so if you're not part of that game, you're kind of losing in a sense, right? So like, an example I always think of related to this is I have Crohn's. And so, a long time ago, even pre me getting diagnosed, like I'm saying, like a while ago, the value of a doctor would be that they would know so much more about like your condition than you did. And so their value exchange would be information, right? And that's why you would go. Well, now that's not true at all. Like, I probably know way fucking more than I'm teasing a little bit, but like I personally know way more about like specifically my version of Crohn's and what that looks like for me and how it impacts me. And I can like look up anything at the touch of my fingertips, and I can be like as much of an expert in that as I want to be. But the value of my doctor now to me is that he just has a lens that I simply don't have, like on like what things are working for his other patients, or what he's seen over the years, or what treatments he has access to, or different things like that. So like, the value has just totally changed. If he was still trying to be like, oh, well, I'm just here like regurgitate some information, like it wouldn't feel like a great value exchange. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of the true with our people, is like, you can get the value, the information anywhere. So like, by all means, play that game, be part of it, but realize that behind your paid containers, there's different value now, right? It's like your support, your expertise, your eyes on their life, body, business, whatever it is, like your accountability, your community support, whatever is part of your program. But feeling like you can't share information because of that, I think is the ultimate trap, and is what makes it a lot harder for some people to make sales in business. Even if like you have a course, right? And say you're like, well, I only sell a course, so how can I give out information? Like, maybe the value of the course is that it's all put together in a way that they're never going to be able to get just from, an Instagram post, or maybe it goes in this order that like really helps them accomplish it, or maybe it comes with accountability, or maybe it like, there's always something else, right? But this idea of like, I have information that you don't have, and so I have to keep that a secret until like, I think that's just dead. And it's not working very well. Like, most people want to see that value from you before they hire you, or it makes it scarier to hire you. Or again, it has to be like this super secret thing that's making them come off the fence, right? Yeah, Jess says, I'm so learning that other value piece. Yes, it's so true. Alessia says, do you think there is a place of not sharing everything in some sectors, like done for you services, just out of curiosity? Like done for you services. I don't think so. I mean, I think done, like the kind of content marketing I would do for a done for you service provider would probably just be different than like give just like all the information, because that's not really what someone's buying or engaging with you for. They're engaging with you more to like have it done. So I think like the content strategy might just be slightly different there, but I don't think there's like something that would be wrong about that. I don't know if that helps answer that question, but yeah, I think like the value like of content I would be looking for from like say my OBM or something would just be different, but giving value still the thing, right? I think that, when everyone is trying to be louder, value is what cuts through the noise, because people really realize like, oh, like, wow, that thing I learned from so-and-so like really changed something for me today. Like I've gotten value from her before I've ever even paid her a dime. And that's what I always talk about. Like if you can give your audience value before they've ever paid you, that makes them want to pay you. Like I think there's such a fallacy of that makes them run the other way and not want to pay you. Like, oh, I've like sucked the value off of her, I'm going somewhere else. Like I really do not think the majority of people function like that. If they did, I literally wouldn't have a business. I've recorded almost 5 seasons of full 6 months of coaching. You know what I mean? Like it's all on the table. I show up here for almost an hour every week. Like that wouldn't be a thing. Do you know what I mean? Hi, Sabs. Thank you for being here. Okay, great. I'm glad that makes sense. So here's what I really want to say about that. Like everything else is a bonus on top of value, right? So talking about the fact that like you're amazing at what you do, sharing testimonials, sharing client results, all of that, like that's the bonus on value that yes, of course is good for conversion, of course makes things easier. But like all of that doesn't replace giving value, right? That's just what helps that next step. By all means, give all the value and then sell, right? Again, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But I really like the first thing I want to say here is like, in terms of like what you can do about this is, you know, be a great auditor of your own content. Like really read your content with that filter. Like, would this give someone a result without them ever paying me? Like, can someone get an amazing result from just this piece of content, from just this live, from just this challenge or whatever? If you're giving people results from your shit like that, trust me, they're going to keep coming back. They're going to keep engaging with your content. They're going to keep taking that next step. They're going to get on your email list. They're going to buy from you. Like that only builds. But we almost have to be willing to like be that auditor of our own content. And not be like critical of ourselves, but look at the content with a critical eye and really like ask yourself, like, am I truly giving value here? Is someone truly going to get something out of this? Or am I kind of just like holding back? Or am I kind of just like talking about something I'm kind of interested in talking about without thinking about it through the lens of like, what does my person or my audience need to hear? Right? Hi, Bonnie. And so when you can be that auditor of your own stuff and go, like, is this fully in service of, you know, the people that need this? Is this fully in service of my ideal client? Like really audit from that perspective. You are going to see over and over again how much that transforms your results and honestly how much it makes your sales process easier. Like my sales process is exponentially easier because people have consumed so much of my value that like I don't really have to do a lot in the sales process because like they've already had that interaction of seeing like I give really consistent value. And so like they're already sold, right? And if you're really struggling with that, like if you're like, I don't know, like I don't even know how I would give a lot of value, or like I don't know that my content is hitting the mark on that. That's totally okay. But what that tells you is that the problem you need to solve is that you might need to know your people way better, right? Like you might need to talk to them more often. You might need to offer free calls. You might need to do some market research. You might need to get really clear on what value they need so you can go there with them. And so you feel really confident in giving that week over week, right? You know, obviously I have the benefit of having this group and talking to y'all in here and then having client calls all week and that kind of stuff. So I just feel really locked in on what value would make a big difference for people. And it's really easy for me to kind of like create from that place. So if you're feeling like, man, that's really a struggle for me, like, don't let that make you hold back. Let that like help you like go out into your audience more and be like, talk to me, get on a call with me. Let me ask market research questions. Let me like get in there with them and figure out like, what is the value that would be a game changer for them? Like, and then I can happily deliver on that and you will see the results from that, right? So like, don't let that be a roadblock, I guess is what I want to say. Like if you're like listening to this and you're like, I don't even know what I would say. This feels like a lot of pressure. That's totally okay. It's just your chance to go talk to people. And if you're listening to this and going, oh, okay, I probably do know what they want, but I've almost been feeling like I was supposed to create content like this, or feeling like I wasn't supposed to share this much, or whatever, then like, let this be your permission slip. But if you can hit those 2 points, like I know where my audience is stuck and what value would be like really, really, really useful to them. And I'm out here delivering it really consistently, like your business is going to grow. It really is. Like it gets easier and easier over time of doing that. And I'm not saying you might not have a gap where you do that until you see results, but that truly, again, is the equalizer, right? It is where like you can show up and be new in this space. And if you're the one, you know, giving a crap ton of value and people are getting something from it week over week, it doesn't matter that you're new in this space. You're gonna get clients for that reason, right? So what I feel like is always a thing is there such a thing as giving too much value? And then also like, I already give a ton of value and I'm not getting sales. So I want to address those two things. But if you have another question on this, by all means, tell me in the comments and we will address that too. But so like, is there a thing as giving too much value? Again, in my opinion, no. I do think there is a thing that is real, that is overwhelming your call or your audience. Like I kind of mentioned to Eliza earlier. I think you can certainly give too much information that leads them to feel like, holy shit, I need to do 36 steps before I take the next step with that person. So, you know, say you give a free call and you're like, okay, well, here are like the next 50 things that you need to do. And that person walks away with a to-do list of, you know, I'm just being dramatic, but like 50 things. They're probably not hiring you tomorrow because they have a fucking to-do list of 50 things that they have to do first, right? So I think there is a way where we can overwhelm our people, but I don't think there is a way where we can truly give too much value. So I think the way we have to think about value is not just information, but it's result oriented. So when I used to do challenges a lot, and actually in a challenge on challenges in the biz bundle, I talk about this. I would see people do these challenges that just gave so much information that people would get, you know, halfway through the challenge and not even finish it because they would just be completely overwhelmed. And then that person would be like, well, what the fuck? I gave so much value. Why am I not converting? And it wasn't value, it was information. So we need to think of value as more than just information. Value is like what helps someone ultimately get a result. So in my challenges, I would always keep them super fucking simple. It would be like, do this one little thing today, then do this one little thing tomorrow. And a lot of people would finish the whole challenge and then they would be like, oh shit, like I, you know, recorded 5 live streams this week and I've never gone live before, or I've like, you know, written my whole content plan and I've like never even written a piece of content before. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. So it wasn't like I was telling them everything they ever needed to know. I was giving them enough value to actually make a change and to get a result, right? Yes, value versus information. Exactly, Becky. Eliza says, yes, I don't tend to sign up to challenges because they're too overwhelming. Exactly. It's totally that, because we're thinking about the exchange as just information versus transformation, right? So value is the transformation. It's not the information. Okay. That's really important here. When you're overloading your audience with information, the assumption is it will be like that in your program. Or worse. So it's like when I'm giving my audience a ton of value, they assume I'll give more value in a paid container. Check. That's what I want them to think. When I'm giving them so much information, they're assuming my paid container is going to be like that too. So they're like, wow, I couldn't even get through this challenge. Like I probably am super not ready for her course or her program because like, whoa, maybe I can't operate at this speed, or maybe I don't know enough, or maybe I like don't have enough time to complete it, you know? So really changing how we're thinking about value to not being like, let me tell you everything I can possibly tell you, but to be like, how can I get you a result before you've ever paid me? That is value. That's the exchange, right? When we go so heavy on information, again, that's not really the transmission of value. Like something I think about a lot is like, you know, I obviously have a lot of experience. Like I have, say, well, let's use this as an example. So I have an MBA, so I went to business school. If I came on here every week and was like trying to teach you all that I learned in business school, I guarantee you nobody would want to be here. You'd all be like, she's cute, but she's gone crazy. So no, thank you. Like nobody wants that. You want me to be able to distill that information down and translate it in a valuable way that simplifies it and that cuts through all the bullshit of that, So that's what I really want us to start thinking about value as well, as like the ability to like cut through noise, the ability to simplify, the ability to transform, the ability to get a result. It is not information, right? It contains information, but that is not it. That is not where results are coming from. Nima says this is such a good distinction. It also makes creating content way less overwhelming when we frame it that way, instead of having to give loads of information versus focusing on the transformation. Totally agree with that. Like, again, that's why I would even keep my challenges so simple, because I don't want to put that much information in it either. Like I would try to make sure every video was like between 3 and 5 minutes, because number one, I didn't want to record, a fucking 50-minute video every day. But number two, I know no one would watch a 50-minute video every day. Like that's why I only do one of these live streams a week, because I always talk for fucking ever. And I know y'all aren't gonna always watch this multiple times. Like you get one because that's what I feel like is actually valuable, not because I couldn't even make time to do more, but because like then it just gets overwhelming where you're like, oh, I've missed like the last 6. I can't even catch up. You know what I'm saying? So is there a thing as giving too much value? No, if you're using the definition of value that we're talking about. Is there a thing as giving too much information? Yes, there is. Does that make sense for everyone? Huge distinction point there. So then the next point, or the next question is, I'm already giving a ton of value and I'm not getting sales. What's up? So one could be what we already talked about. Maybe you're giving a ton of information and people are really fucking overwhelmed. So that could be one. But another one could be, are you selling really consistently off that value? So yes, give all the value, but also make the pitch. And I feel like most people really, really gravitate towards one or the other. They're just full on only marketing posts, only pitching posts. And so, yeah, they're selling a ton, but their audience isn't getting a ton of substance behind it. And so, yes, they're getting sold to a lot, but like that trust and safety isn't there to convert. Or over on this end, like, I don't even know what you have to offer, right? Like, that's not even a thing I know about, right? Like, I'm not hearing that from you. I'm coming back because I like your content. I'm coming back because I think you're great, but like, I've never even heard you talk about a program or offer. You know what I mean? So give value and then use that as a lead in to sell really consistently. And you're going to feel better selling because you're giving so much value, right? So like every time I sell to this audience, I never, ever, ever feel weird or like guilty or like I'm bugging y'all or anything like that, because I'm like, I know I show up and give way more value than that. So like, it always feels like a good exchange there. You know what I mean? Exactly, Kimberly. Overgive value, don't overgive information. Spot on, quotable, right? That's it. Overgive value, don't overgive information. And then sell off the value, right? So when you're kind of too in that I'm just someone who gives value train, you can like really, really forget this other point. Like that's still something I always have to remember. Actually, like something really funny happened think it was last week when I was doing this. I was talking about mindset, strategy, and execution last week. And someone in the comments said, oh my God, I like need a quiz on this. And this person is amazing. They are like such an amazing part of this community. We interact a ton. We've worked together before, like all the setup for like someone who would know my offers really, really well. And like literally the top of my website is an MSC quiz. And she had no idea. Like she wasn't even sarcastically saying that. Like she genuinely was like, this is such a good idea. You should make a quiz. And so my point in saying that is like, even our most diehard people consuming our value will not know these things unless you're vocalizing them all the time. So that was just a freebie, but like that would definitely be true of a program if you're not selling it and talking about it. So don't use value as like a cop out for selling. Use value as something that feels like a really good exchange for selling, right? You're like, I did freaking amazing live stream and gave this community a shit ton of value this week. I will sure as heck make my 3 sales posts, right? Like let it be both there. I think that I feel like it's less now, although I could be just paying attention to it a lot less. But I used to feel like there was this mentality in our space that was basically like, if you give great value, people will just come banging down your door kind of thing. Like if your message is on point, like you won't have to sell, people will just come to you. If you're, showing up in the right way, like you shouldn't even have to like be like putting out your program and stuff like that. And like, fuck no, that is not how it works. And that is not true, right? Like that is just a way to set you up to feel disappointed, honestly, and to not run a business. Like, right? Like businesses have offers that they sell. Businesses can also give a ton of value, but like, you see what I mean? So, not putting yourself in that position where you're like, if my value is good enough, I shouldn't have to sell. If my value is good enough, people should just naturally ask me about my programs. Like, no, that's not a thing. If your value is good enough and then you consistently sell your programs, then you get your conversions. That's what it is, right? And when I say good enough, I don't mean that, but I mean like what we were talking about before, like you're truly giving value and transformation, and then you sell your programs. That's when it clicks. So this is not like a one side of the coin thing, but it is something I feel like we've gotten really far away from in our space. Like even when I scroll through this group, like I'm happy as heck for y'all to sell in here, but I see way more pitching than I see just like value bombing. Do you know what I mean? Like I really do. And like, it's cool. Like I'm happy for you to sell in here. I hope you get clients in this group, but it's interesting to see how far we've come in terms of that shifting. But I really believe like there is always a space in the market for you if you're willing to come in and just really serve the shit out of people. Like the market is never too oversaturated for that. It's just not. So really seeing that as your opportunity is huge. Eliza says, do you sell in the value post or separately or both? You really can do both, but I am constantly giving my clients a hard time where they're like, well, I sold. And I'm like, show me where. And it's like at the bottom of a very long value post and it's like one sentence. And like, that's fine sometimes, but like, that ain't it, right? It's like, so both would be my thing. Like, it's totally cool to put that at the bottom of a value post. So by all means, let yourself give your audience like a full sales pitch and sales post too. Don't almost like hide it at the bottom of a value post either. I think that can get, unhelpful in a sense too, but like you can for sure do both, but make sure you're actually doing both. And that like, putting it at the bottom of a value post isn't almost like an excuse to not have to sell more. Good. I'm glad that makes sense. Okay, cool. I just totally lost my train of thought. Oh, I was talking about how I just don't see that as much anymore. Yeah. So again, value is an equalizer. If you're looking at a bunch of people that are ahead of you and like thinking like, oh, but I don't have results like them or whatever, great. Like that, you don't have to worry about that. Can you give that much value? Right. Something I really love is from the book Tapping into Wealth. It's like literally about tapping. It's by this woman called Margaret Lynch. And I don't think she talks about it in the book, actually, now that I'm saying it. I think it was a YouTube video. It was definitely a YouTube video. And she talks about like, if you want to make $50,000, like, can you give out $50,000 worth of value? I heard that super, super early on in this business and has been such a guiding light for me and like really changed my thought process at the time. And so fucking grateful for that. That video is really good. If you just Google like Margaret Lynch, and I think it's called like tapping into 50K or something like that. Highly recommend. But what it reminds you is that like, this is the exchange with my audience. Like, let me put out 50K worth of value and then sell and have that come back to me, instead of it almost being like, let me hide that value back here and try to like get you to want to come get it. It's like, here it is. Like, this is the exchange. And that's when sales feel really good. And when it feels really fucking good to sell to your audience, because you're like, I just gave out 50K of value. I'm going to do 50K worth of sales now. Like, let's roll. Right. Cassie said we use the 80-20 rule, like 80 value, 20 sales. Yeah, I think that's okay. I really like the Gary V like jab, 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 right hook thing. So it's like value, value, value sales. So I think like that's about on the same. Yeah, I guess that would be a fourth. So yeah. But yeah, like any kind of like 70-30, 80-20, 3-1, 2-1, whatever. I think that all works, but definitely like, I think those kind of like rules are helpful because it reminds you to sell, you know, where if not, it can be too easy to just like give value for like, oh no, 3 months and then be like, oh, oops, like I haven't sold. I mean, I've totally been there. So like, that's why I like rules like that, because it just feels like a guiding principle. Oh, thank you, Mary. Mary dropped the video. This is such a refreshing way to think about it. I love that, Nima. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah. So think about it like that. Like it's the value exchange. And that's when sales start to feel really, really, really juicy too, because it's like I just gave all of this, like also like crazy. You know, and that's also when like, if anyone ever has a problem with me selling after that, I'm like, I can't even get upset about that. Like that doesn't even sting. Like I have been showing up and giving mad value. Like that's not a thing. Right. And not that we have to like prove ourselves or prove that we're like allowed to sell or whatever, but it does just feel like a good energy exchange. And I think that's just really, really, really helpful. Yes. Good. You're just starting. It's so refreshing to you. That's awesome, Cassie. Yes, exactly. Like that's where you can like take back your power when you're new, is to be like, well, my power is in being like, yeah, I might not have like the client result of whatever yet, but I will give my audience so much value that it will blow their fucking minds. And that's what's going to like, you know, take this like business to the next level. It's not going to be like, because I hid a bunch of value behind the scenes or something like that. Right. Let me just see if I forgot anything else, because I totally went out of order in my own notes. Shocking. But I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, I know what I was going to say. This is kind of just a side note, but like, think also about like how to apply this to things that are like, you know, like the hot things right now. So it's like, I try to think about it like, for example, you know, with stories, when that was a thing, like almost everyone was using stories for like behind the scenes content or life content or whatever. And I've talked a ton about how like that has not always been my favorite thing. But what I tried to figure out was like, well, how can I use stories to give a shit ton of value? Because again, what I know stands the test of time. I've been in this business for 6 years and that has never fucking changed, is giving value to my audience. So then I was like, well, how do I use stories to give more value? Amazing. Cool. And that's when I started doing my 3 times a week client lessons, you know? So I'm still using that feature, but I'm like using it to give more value. And not that you can't do the behind the scenes stuff, by all means, like if you love that, rock on. But my point in saying that is like, that's just an example of like, how can I think about how am I giving value through these different channels versus feeling like, oh, now I just have to like dance on reels or something. Like, how can I give value through my reels? Like, that's like where the magic comes in. And that's when like strategy feels like it makes sense and it stands the test of time, because you're always like, how can I make this valuable to my audience? How can I give value through this? Like, and that's what makes it feel consistent versus being like, oh my God, now I have to like do this crazy thing. And now I have to do that crazy thing. It's like, these are just other ways for me to deliver value, right? Client lesson of the day. Exactly. Yeah. Can you speak to the way that you set that up? Record one at a time and have your team load it. Yeah. Jackie, I record 3 at a time. That's why like for 1 week, you'll see me in the same shirt the whole time, basically. I don't even know if anybody notices that, but like, yeah. So I'll record 3 at a time and then we'll upload it, you know, on any given like day in that order. Yeah. And my team helps me like load it and put the captions in and stuff. So, you know, even with that, it's like, I'm not like, oh, I have to be like live on my stories every day. I'm like, I want to give value in my stories. So like, here's what that looks like for me. And again, I'm not saying like, you can't be live every day, like figure out what feels best to you there. I'm just saying like, move through the lens of how does this provide value to my audience, you know? And it will feel so much easier to like get a grasp on what you're doing and how to implement that next thing or that next like new thing Instagram rolls out or whatever, you know what I mean? So value is the ticket. Again, I feel like our industry has gotten pretty far away from it. And I think if you're one of the few people showing up and like truly, truly giving that really consistently, you will see growth, right? I'm not saying that the algorithm doesn't make that a little bit harder now, but like I said on a previous live stream, if you're creating amazing, valuable content, people will want to come back and find it, even if like the algorithm isn't always presenting it. So really, really focus on like, how can I create so much value here for my audience that they want to come back for it, right? Jackie, thank you. Yes, Jackie grabbed one of the intensives today. That was quite the rush. Those sold out in like a minute, which was absolutely insane. So like really, really awesome that you got one and really excited for that. Amazing. Okay. So I feel like I have talked about like not overwhelming your audience, and now I talked for an hour. So great, Lace. So I'm going to wrap up, but if you have any other questions, y'all let me know. I'm happy to answer them. I will give away a biz bundle tomorrow. Next week, I will be on at 1 p.m. And next week actually is going to be exciting because I'm going to share just, I guess we'll call it behind the scenes, but just like talk about hitting our $1 million a year. So basically today I shared a Lit Up Life hit $1 million. So basically what that means is in a 12-month span, we hit $1 million cash. So next week, I'm going to do a whole live kind of on looking at that. I'll talk about the partnership model, behind the scenes, lessons learned, all that kind of juicy stuff. Y'all can ask questions. So 1 p.m. next week, would love to have y'all there, and we'll do some fun giveaways. And actually, if y'all have anything that you're like, oh, I would love to see that in a giveaway, let me know that too. We've done gift cards, we've done like a lot of our different products, but if there's something else y'all would love to see, like, oh, it'd be so fun to get spoiled with like your favorite fall candle or whatever, like obviously I have fall on the brain today. But if there's just anything where you're like, oh, that would just feel so fun and juicy, like, let me know. I would love to play with that. So yes, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Eliza. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you guys. All right, have a beautiful week. I will see y'all next week, and happy Monday. And don't forget to comment if you want the biz bundle. All right, bye y'all.